Hey guys, welcome is Dan here, just sitting on the floor as usual. So what I would like to talk about today is something that I had a huge argument with one of my friends recently. And the thing is that we were thinking, what is better, PC or consoles? In terms of gaming, of course.
Objectively speaking, PC is better overall.
So nowadays you'll see that PC gaming is pretty popular, like on YouTube and anywhere on the internet really. And there's even subreddits like PC Master Race dedicated to just, making fun of console gaming in every way possible, right?
Okay, I don't know why you were mentioning about PC Master Race in a video about discussing the pros and cons of PC and consoles.
So the thing to remember is that a lot of people will be in PC gaming from the start because, everyone who's watching this and everyone has an internet connection will probably have a PC. And not everyone has a console, of course, just to play games.
Wait, what?
Everyone who's watching this and everyone has an internet connection will probably have a PC.
There is a chance that most people watching this video have a PC. But that doesn't necessarily mean they are PC gamers. They might not play games on PC. I mean, what is this logic?
And the thing to keep in mind here is that, you buy a PC to do work. You buy to do your homework, do some coding, like video editing. With just a flip of a switch, you can actually turn it into a pretty decent gaming machine, right? And this sort of allows this one device to do basically gaming and work at the same time. The barrier to entry is a lot lower. So what this means is that this device can be very multifunctional. So you can start playing games right away with just your keyboard and mouse. Sometimes you might not even need a mouse at all. You can just use your keyboard or, I don't know, a touch screen maybe if your computer has that, right? So that's also a problem in my opinion because it means that you can get distracted a lot more easily. You're doing your work, you're trying to focus on the task, and there's that Steam icon right there on the desktop, 2 clicks away. It's really easy to just slip back into gaming when you're actually supposed to be doing something more productive.
What you said has nothing to do with PC gaming. It is human to get distracted, and it is the individual's fault to get distracted from their work.
The second thing is that PC games are built to be used with a keyboard and mouse most of the time. Sometimes they might add a little bit of controller compatibility and such that. And the problem here is that, say you want to play 10 different games, and for each game you need to remember something like 20 different key combinations to actually be efficient and actually be competitive. Something like, I don't know, Warcraft or Starcraft.
The games you picked are competitive games. Obviously, one must have the skill in order to be good at those games. Not all PC games have those many controls. You are generalizing.
I don't know, Warcraft or Starcraft. Now, another reason why I stopped liking mice and keyboards in general for gaming is because you're just stuck with this big brick on your desk with this little mouse, and that's it. There's no motion controls, no fancy multi-touch gestures, and all sorts of stuff like you see, I don't know, with a Kinect or with an Oculus or with...
There are gaming controllers, wired controllers, wireless controllers, motion controllers. You can connect console controllers to your PC via Bluetooth. I mean, come on. The only VR headset you mentioned in this video, Oculus Rift, is connected to a PC. You forgot about HTC and Steam's Valve Index.
Now, in general, it is also a lot easier to start playing games on console. Now, you just turn it on, click on your game, and you're ready to go. There's almost no setup needed. You don't have to configure your video drivers. You don't have to, fill out with the settings. It all just works straight out of the box. There's almost no maintenance costs. Sometimes you might have to charge the battery on a portable console. Sometimes you might have to do a little update here and there, but you're not stuck with something like a 2 hour long Windows update, right? Unless you're on Linux.
So are you saying that console updates don't have any issues? I literally typed console update issues and found a shit ton of videos. On a PC, it is rarer to get a 2 hour long update, and it is also rare for the update to fail. You can disable auto update if you want. And also there is no maintenance cost for a PC either. PC driver updates are not that difficult or tedious. You can turn on auto update if you want, and you won't even know when the driver was updated. And you don't have to do it every time you want to play a game. I mean, you literally said it is easy to play on the PC.
You can start playing games right away with just your keyboard and mouse. There's that Steam icon right there on the desktop, 2 clicks away. It's really easy to just slip back into gaming when you're actually supposed to be doing something more productive.
You said PC gaming is easily accessible, and therefore it distracts people from being productive. And now, you say it is a good thing to be easily accessible when it comes to consoles.
What's always funny to me is that no one mentions how monopolistic PC gaming is really. So, to actually be competitive in PC gaming, you need to have the best CPU, the best GPU, you need to have a stable, fast internet connection to even start playing a game properly. It needs a very expensive high refresh rate monitor, a good keyboard, a good mouse, and it's just very unfair. It's very unfair because not everyone has a few $1,000s to shell out on a good gaming PC and good peripherals. It's a lot more democratic in the console world. In the console world, everyone has the same system. Everyone has the same specs, the same hardware, the same peripherals, more or less. And it's just a lot more fair, in my opinion, to everyone who buys a console.
No, PC gaming is not monopolistic. You don't need the best PC components and the highest refresh rate monitor to be competitive. It depends on the skill of the player. If a person has a decent PC but more skill than his opponents, then they will win. If a person has an expensive and the most powerful PC but doesn't have the skill, then they will lose. Having a better hardware will only aid your gameplay, but remember, it will only aid. Unless you have the skill, you can't use that hardware to your advantage. In fact, it would be unfair for all the players to have the same hardware with auto-aim and shit because there will be no skill to showcase. If everyone has the same frame rate, the same refresh rate, and auto-aim, then you are limiting the amount of skill that can be shown. Higher refresh rate monitors, higher frame rates, these all are only abilities. You just have the ability to do better when you have better hardware, but unless you perform better, it's of no use.
Now, if we talk about performance, then of course you won't have the same level of performance on consoles as you'll have on a very good high-end PC. But what I've noticed is that you don't actually need all that performance. What I mean is that developers most of the time will actually do some very clever optimizations for consoles. And the surprising thing is that if you take the same specs on a PC and a console, and you play the same game, it'll actually run a lot better on a console because of all these little optimizations. It'll actually run a lot better on a console because of all these little optimizations.
Are you sure about that?
Now, this actually makes developers work in a more creative way. I don't know, it just seems a lot cooler to me. For example, when I fired up Xenoblade 2 on my Switch, I was just blown away by how much they could pack into this tiny little device that I can take with me to the toilet, take with me to the subway, take with me anywhere really, onto a plane for example. And I want to look ridiculous with a huge, bulky gaming laptop, for example.
But the huge bulky gaming laptop will emulate the game better than the Switch with a higher resolution, isn't it?
Now, another thing to mention here is actually the games that you can play on a PC and a console. So what you'll often see is that some games are actually released on consoles first, or they are better optimized on consoles. Now, Rockstar Games is actually quite famous for giving preference to consoles. They started developing for them in the first place. And then maybe after, half a year or a year later, they'll port the game to PC as well.
Well, GTA 5 took a year to come onto the PS4 and Xbox One consoles, but besides that, Rockstar themselves explained why GTA 5 took so long to get ported to PC. Still to this day the PC version of GTA 5 is the best version, and it is the same in case of Red Dead Redemption 2. In fact, it seems like Rockstar prefers the PC platform way more than the consoles.
Now, if you want the latest and greatest, you'll actually end up having to buy a console anyway if you want to keep up with the latest games.
Latest? I guess. But greatest? No.
Now, there are also quite a lot of exclusives on consoles as well that you can't play on a PC, or that only come out in a few months down the line.
PC has way more exclusives than consoles. But I believe that no one should be restricted from playing any game just because they don't own a particular platform.
And Nintendo consoles are a really great example of this. Now, some of the best games on the planet are only available on Nintendo consoles.
And some of the other best games are only available on PC.
And just one game is actually enough to sway people to get that particular system.
Yes, a person can be swayed into buying a console just to play the game they like. And that's why exclusives are anti-consumer. That's why it is an anti-consumer practice to restrict a game's access to a particular platform in order to entice people to buy it. Games and consoles are two different products. They cannot restrict games to give some sort of artificial value to their consoles.
Now, you might say that on consoles, you're only stuck with 16:9, Full HD, in the best case scenario, maybe 4K 60 on something like an Xbox One X, and you can't enjoy games anymore if you have anything lower than 4K 144 Hz or something ridiculous like that. And I think that's actually untrue, because in order to enjoy games, you don't really need that much. 50 years ago, people were just fine with something like Pong or Tetris, and definitely wasn't above even 100 pixels horizontally.
Well, 120 years ago people were just fine with heavy bulky microphones. And now look at you. You are using a headset with a decent microphone. Technology is constantly getting better. You can't say the better version is not needed just because people were fine with an inferior version before.
I have this Nintendo 3DS right here, and the screen is only something like 240p, and that was completely enough to keep me entertained for a week while I was on a trip in Italy. And that's actually a huge benefit, I think, because, a screen with fewer pixels consumes a lot less energy than you think. So I could go ahead and play my games for 4 or maybe 5 hours at a time and not have to charge it at all.
Screen with lesser pixels doesn't consume that much power, true, but it's also true that it will not produce a sharper image. I think, needing 4K resolution to enjoy games is subjective. Some people might need the highest possible resolution to fully enjoy the game they like to play, and that's absolutely fine. And I don't know why you care to mention this as a point for why PC gaming sucks, because you personally might not care about resolution that much. But that doesn't mean that PC gaming sucks for allowing better visual fidelity. It literally has nothing to do with the topic you are discussing about.
Well, that's it for me for now. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to like, dislike, hit that bell. Just do anything, please. I don't even have money for a desk or a table.
But apparently, you have money for a Nintendo 3DS and a shark, to which you have posted a link in the description. But anyway, that was it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if so please like, share and subscribe to my channel for more videos. And don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comment section. I'll see you guys in another video.